Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. So happy to welcome Charlie Grimes and Rex Broad. They are from Dayspring Music Ministry, something that they just really launched. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
And thanks for being here. So first of all, Dayspring Music, where did that come from?
Well, Rex and I both attend Dayspring Christian Fellowship over in Massillon, and I happen to be on staff at the church as the worship pastor. So we started a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. It is providing music through an MP3 player, a little simple device that we have loaded with traditional hymns first. Our first album was about 14 or 15 traditional hymns, so the popular, most traditional hymns on this album, sung by folks from our church in 4-part harmony with a piano accompaniment. Mm-hmm. So it's very traditional. And it's just been a great blessing to people in nursing homes or hospitals, those suffering with memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's. Yeah. Just a wonderful aspect of ministry to connect families around this music, which is so classic and traditional for us as Christians.
I can't wait to get deeper into that, but I'm looking at the device itself, and I'm just so impressed because Charlie Grimes, in another career of yours, you were the athletic director over at Malone University and a track coach.
Yes.
And you invented something called some kind of a launch pad.
Right, yes.
So inventing, this is not the first time you've said, you know what we need, you know what somebody ought to make.
That's right,
is something like this. Where did these ideas come from?
Well, I'm going to lean on my brother Rex for this because really it's his idea, but he can tell you a story of a dream where this originated.
Please tell us, Rex.
Well, I don't remember dreams, but I remember this one very vividly. And it was in the night, and I was in this room, and there was people in beds, and there was people standing along the walls, not wanting to communicate, just be by themselves. And there was people walking around, not knowing where they was at or what their name was. But in the middle of the room was a table with a box on it, and the box started playing music. And everybody just sort of started changing their attitudes, the way they was, and the box started playing old church hymns. And I remembered them because that's how I grew up, with old church hymns in our church. And it was amazing how these people changed. And they went right, it was like a magnet. It drew them in, and they went up to it, and they started singing all these old songs. And then I woke up, and that was the dream.
Oh, my goodness. So you wake up from a dream like that, and a lot of people would say, wow, I just had the craziest dream. But you moved forward with this, like maybe there's something that should be done here. What happened next?
Well, it was amazing to me because I don't sing, I don't know music, and I have never played an instrument. I'm a sports person. And I'm going, why me? Why me? Yeah. So I asked my wife, and she said, you're to do something. He's telling you to do something. So I prayed about it, and I went to Charlie, because I was working with Charlie at Malone at the time in the athletic department. And I went to Charlie and our ministers, and I said, what does this mean? And then I worked at Babcock & Wilcox as a project manager and a scheduler and production control, and they said, make one. So that's what I did. I was out in California with my daughter and son-in-law, and he has a recording system, and we recorded a song. I brought it back to North Canton, Ohio, went to Canton Christian Home, walked in, asked for the chaplain, and here the chaplain was my old minister when I grew up.
Oh, my goodness.
And he took it in and said, let us try it. So we got some dementia patients who didn't even know their name or where they was at. We put them in a room, started playing the music, and they all started singing to it, just like the dream.
Isn't that something?
So,
what is it about music, and Charlie, maybe you can answer this, that triggers something in our memories? Because we've seen it time and again. There are people, even YouTube videos of people with their grandparents in a car, and you can tell as soon as a song comes on, suddenly they're there, they're back.
Absolutely. I'm no expert, but the study and some of the research that we've done that I've just haphazardly read is that Alzheimer's and dementia patients, portions of their brains are dying, but what they're finding is that the portions that have to do with rhythm and candor or cadence, they're not dying, and so these memories of these songs are still there, and they're embedded. And so we've got great, early testimonies of hospice using this device to comfort those with, life-ending ailments and their families. So the music is emotional. It links us back to a time, like Rex explained, to perhaps his childhood when, and I have those memories as well. My grandmother playing the organ when I was a child, playing these and singing these songs. So the hymns and the history and the classic nature of our faith, it rooted in these hymns, is something that Christians all over the world can connect with, and they can connect with each other through them. And so it's been amazing.
It's something, isn't it, that we can go for years without hearing a song, but something from our childhood, suddenly every word is right back there.
Yep,
and you
it
can
is really
sing
neat
right
to
along.
see it. And we've even got some instances where a person who cannot speak and hasn't spoken for, perhaps weeks or months, can not only sing, but I've observed her singing the harmony part, not just the melody part, but the harmony part that she may have sang, when she was in the choir as a younger person. So it's really neat to sort of free people through this and to see them come back to life in some cases. Mm-hmm. So it's been very comforting and it's really exciting. Now, where I kind of come into the picture here is that Rex shared this idea. And so, like you mentioned, with my experience and sort of an entrepreneurial spirit here and my enthusiasm.
Not the first time you've invented
That's right,
something.
sure. And to get it to scale and to get it to production and
Yes.
advertising and marketing. And so the creation of the nonprofit Dayspring Music Ministry, a website, an email address, a phone number, an address, all of those little details that come into administrating and managing this for funeral homes, hospice care, home use with families and our children, to comfort those in hospitals, nursing homes. The scale of this is where I kind of came in and assisted Rex. And so now we're partners in it. We have a board of board members that help support us. Awesome. We're taking donations as a nonprofit. We're obviously producing the units and we're shipping them out. Here especially, we've just come out with this Christmas album, which is so appropriate at this time of the year. And we've just had wonderful reception.
Let's talk about the unit itself, because you had to come up with, what does this look like? Does this look like how it looked in your dream, Rex? Or did you describe to him? Or is this something a little bit, a variation of what you dreamt?
Well, God had his part in this also. I went to a retirement dinner, and the gentleman I worked with for 30-some years was sitting next to me. And I said to him, didn't your daughter marry into an import-export family? And he said, she did. What do you need? And I told him about what I needed. And he says, well, let me see her father-in-law, and I'll have him contact you. Well, a gentleman contacted me from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh, my.
And her father-in-law is a professor of international trade, and that he's in international trade at the Mormon College out in Hawaii. And he contacted me, sent me some examples, and we talked about them because it has to be very simple for older people to turn on and off.
Yes.
And it's all one button. It has to do with one button. And it tells them when it's on and when it's off. And so he found it, and he sent it to me, and he had it all made, and we've got 1,000 of them now. And so now I'm wondering, where's the money going to come from, And we started praying, and it was a miracle because people started donating. And so that's how we got all the money to raise to purchase all of them. We have 1,000 of them, and we're trying to record now, and all the money's been donated, and we currently have donations coming in to help us out.
It's a wonderful ministry to provide music. And how many songs did you say are on this one small?
Yeah, the first album of traditional hymns, I believe, is 14 traditional hymns. So we kind of did a process of elimination to pick the most popular, familiar hymns to people. Then there's about 15 Christmas songs on the next album, so to speak, that we, and then, again, like I explained, it's a micro SD card, so a little memory card that can just be placed into the unit, and it just functions as an MP3 player.
Yes.
But it is circular. It looks sort of like an Alexa or a Google Home, but it's much more simple, and it can just sit on a table or a bedside bureau and can give wonderful comfort. It's rechargeable, and because there's some stories of folks that are just running these 24 hours a day in their rooms for the patients.
So the big button in the middle, that's the one that turns it on?
Yeah, well, actually, one on the side.
Oh, the one on the side,
yeah,
okay.
You just hold that in and...
One button, and then the bottom of it looks like that might be where the sound comes out.
The speaker is on the bottom.
Okay, but it's lifted up so that it's not drowning out anything. Fabulous. All right, can we take 1 second? Can you just play a little bit of that into the... hold it right up. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
well, I think
really
you need to start with really good singers, which you have, and people who are just gifted musically to be able to do this.
Yeah, I can't thank those folks enough. They are 4 members of our church. Another staff member, one of the other pastors at our church, is one of the vocalists. And then one of the vocal instructors actually at Malone, Heather Curtis, kind of head up the arrangements themselves with a Malone grad that actually is the accompanist on the piano. So we're really excited. They sing a great 4-part traditional harmony, and it's just been really, really exciting to see it come together.
How did you narrow it down to 14?
Yeah, that was very difficult. But there is some neat expansion here, because our next set of songs will probably most likely be another traditional set of hymns. But we've got some ideas going, of course. We're going to translate some hymns into Spanish. And we're going to actually do another album on the horizon for us is all children's songs, because another testimony that we're saying is children are listening to these hymns before they go to bed at night, but there is a market here for the elderly that enjoy the old children's songs that they used to sing. Jesus loves me, Father Abraham, I am a C, I am a CH, those kind of fun songs. We're going to get some kids into the recording studio now, and we're going to be putting that together. So, but we're excited about the expansion of this. You're right. It was hard to pick the first 13 or 14 songs to go with, but as you heard there, it's just a wonderful group to work with, and so we're having fun.
Tell us, what are some of we know Come Thou Fount is one of them. Can you tell us some of the other songs that we hear?
We gave you a list with the unit. You get it. It's Blessed Assurance, What a Friend We Have in Jesus, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, Great is Thy Faithfulness, Rock of Ages, The Old Rugged Cross, How Great Thou Art, Amazing Grace, It Is Well, Softly and Tenderly.
Okay.
So those are great.
You did really well.
Great
my goodness.
Titles and just wonderful songs. Interspersed here too, Susie, are some scripture readings. So this reads and plays a lot like a devotional, and so it runs about 50 minutes. But there are wonderful scriptural readings in between the songs occasionally. Psalm 23, some other readings that could just bring comfort and remind us of the great history and of our faith.
I know you are all about contemporary worship. Me too.
Yeah.
But what is it about these traditional hymns that is so important?
Yeah, there's a gravity. I think it's the theology, the history, the longevity of these songs. There's some rich. There's obviously wonderful contemporary music out there right now, and it changes almost daily, right? You know that better than anybody. But these songs are timeless. We believe the traditions and the classic, sort of like I said, gravity of our faith are found in the words here that are so precious to us.
We're visiting with Charlie Grimes and Rex Broad. They are founders of Dayspring Music Ministry, and a really cool way to be listening to some of these traditional hymns. We're going to be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.